In our senior year of high school, the most popular girl in class suddenly confessed to my deskmate, saying they should drop out and get married. I advised my deskmate to prioritize his studies. He turned her down, and we ended up getting into the same university. We graduated, got married, and had a daughter in our third year. That same year, the most popular girl in our class became a film queen. That night, my drunk husband beat me and our daughter. Blaming me for ruining his chance to be the film queen's husband, I tried to shield my daughter, but he ended up beating me to death. When I opened my eyes again, I had gone back to the day she confessed her feelings to He Minglang. Seeing He Minglang's eagerness, I understood everything. He had been reborn, too. I let out a cold laugh. This time around, they can be the ones to get locked in. I'll just sit back and enjoy the show. After all, I happen to know a little secret about how a certain someone became a best actress. He Minglang, would you be willing to go out with me? If you're willing, I'm yours. A bright, radiant girl is the one who catches everyone's eye, just like the class belle, Su Jejia. She's beautiful, with a wonderfully carefree spirit. I imagine quite a few people have a crush on her. But, isn't she already an award-winning actress? What is she doing here? And why does she look so much younger? I do, He Minglang. His eyes rimmed red, pulled Su Jejia into a tight embrace. In an instant, my eyes went wide with shock. Holy crap, did I just get a second chance at life? What about He Minglang? The moment I saw the maturity in He Minglang that was so out of place for his age, it all clicked. No wonder he agreed without even asking me. So, he's been reborn too, huh? But why him? I was the victim. I get to be reborn. What gives him the right, in my past life? It was obvious he didn't want to accept the class beauty's confession, so he deliberately looked at me. His deskmate, do you think I should say yes? I must have been out of my damn mind, because I actually looked at him seriously and said, we're in our final year of high school, studies should come first, okay? And so, He Minglang turned Su Jejia down. Su Jejia ran off in tears, and not long after, she dropped out of school. During that time, He Minglang and I helped each other with our studies, and the following year, we were both admitted to the same prestigious university. He confessed his feelings to me in our sophomore year, and we started dating without a hitch. After graduating from university, he proposed to me. 3 years later, we were blessed with our daughter. I can't even begin to describe how happy I felt. Ours was a love story that went from school uniforms to wedding gowns. With stable jobs and both sets of parents in good health, just when I thought my happy life would go on like this forever, that woman Su Jejia, who had been gone for years, suddenly reappeared, and the moment she showed up, she set our high school class chat on fire. Did you hear? Su Jejia is a movie queen now. Wow, I can't believe it. Check out the link. The class monitor sent a link to the latest interview video, featuring Su Jejia as the guest. She really is a movie star now. I never would have guessed. She gets tens of millions for a single movie role now. I'm jealous. I'll stop talking now. The group chat was buzzing with activity, but He Minglang, who had been active since the high school group started, just sat there gloomily staring at his phone. He didn't chime in or show any expression. By that point, I had long forgotten about the time Su Jejia confessed to He Minglang. I couldn't believe it. That damned bastard got drunk that very night and started coming after me. Lu Monli, you just can't stand to see me happy, can you? If you hadn't stopped me from dating Su Jejia, I'd be married to an award-winning actress by now. I wouldn't even need a job. It's all your fault. This is all on you, you bitch. At that moment, I suddenly felt like I didn't know the man in front of me anymore. I wanted to explain. After all, I happen to know a little something about why the class beauty became a film queen. If He Minglang got involved with Su Jejia, forget about becoming the film queen's husband. He might not even come to a good end. Before I could even get the words out, I was met with a flurry of punches and kicks. He Minglang didn't just hit me, he hit our daughter too. I didn't even think of running for my life. I shielded my daughter with everything I had, only to be beaten to death by He Minglang. When I opened my eyes again, I was here, in the present. Lu Monli, don't you dare try to stop me. This time, no one is going to keep me apart from Jejia. Right now, He Minglang, still a high school student, was glaring at me with pure malice. His face may have been young, but his eyes were filled with loathing, clearly clouded and murky. I rolled my eyes at him. A scumbag and a bitch, you two deserve each other. If He Minglang hadn't killed me that night, he would have learned the truth. What a pity, he'll never know. In this life, Let him keep dreaming of being the husband of a movie queen. I look forward to seeing his face twist with regret when he learns the truth. He Mingling, are you out of your mind? What does it matter to me whether you two are together or not? I shot back, annoyed, and started packing up my things at my desk. What are you doing? Seeing me act this way only made He Mingling angrier. I don't want to sit next to you. I knew it, you do like me. You can't stand seeing me with Jia, can you? Disgusting. Who gave him the confidence to think I'd ever like him? If it weren't for He Mingling always being by my side during university, I would never have chosen him. But since I've been given a second chance, I'd rather die than choose him again. I will watch him descend into hell, step by step, in this life. I won't even have to lift a finger. I'm certain he'll meet a gruesome end. My homeroom teacher is going to find out about my desk change any minute now. Both He Mingling and I are considered promising students in the class. The teacher catches wind of everything, and he initiated a conversation with me. Lu Monli, why did you change your seat all of a sudden? Sir Ma'am, I can't see the board clearly from that spot. With just one sentence, I got the homeroom teacher to stop talking and move me straight to the front row. By then, He Mingling and I were already far apart. I figured keeping my distance from that jinx was a good start. After that day, Su Mingling and I barely spoke to each other in class. In my past life, I wasted a lot of time tutoring Su Mingling. I could have scored even higher, but He Mingling was always pestering me back then. Classmate Lu, I'm begging you, just help me out, okay? Think of it as reviewing the material for yourself, okay? No, in my past life, if I hadn't wasted so much time on He Mingling, getting into Tsinghua or Peking University would have been a breeze. But now, I'm going to focus all my energy on studying. I will rise to the top and make up for the regrets of my past life. Just as I was buckling down to study, He Mingling started openly dating Su Jia and completely gave up on his schoolwork. A classmate asked him, "We're about to start our final year of high school. Are you really giving up on studying?" "Of course," he replied. "What's the point of just cramming books? It doesn't guarantee you'll make money in the end." I knew He Mingling was banking on Su Jia becoming a movie star. I couldn't help but let out a soft chuckle. He Mingling, however, caught it. He swaggered over to me, hand in hand with Su Jia. "Lu Monli, what's so funny? You're just jealous of Jia and me, aren't you?" "Yes, I am jealous of you." I gave He Mingling a thin, insincere smile. Seeing that I'd admitted it, he was at a loss for words. After he opened and closed his mouth a few times without uttering a sound, I sharply ordered him to leave. "Sorry, former deskmate, but you're in the way." I pushed He Mingling aside, grabbed my backpack, and walked away. When I got home, I saw my parents busy in the kitchen, thinking about my sudden death in my past life. I didn't even get to see my parents one last time. I wondered how my lovely daughter and my parents were doing now. Somehow, my parents found out about me changing deskmates. After all, my dad knows He Mingling's father. So our parents did pull some strings to get us seated together. Now that we've switched seats, the teacher is bound to tell them. I told my parents about He Mingling dating someone. They were a bit upset, thinking he couldn't tell what was important, and wanted to tell his parents. I quickly put a stop to that. If this mess happens again, our Lu family won't be getting involved. Mom, Dad, if you don't want to get blamed for this later, it's best you don't say a word. My expression was grave. My parents realized something was wrong and pressed me for answers for a long time, but I refused to say more. Eventually, they stopped asking. However, they also promised me they would absolutely not tell He Mingling's parents about this, so I felt relieved. In my past life, it was my foolish kindness that got me killed. I can't just stand by and watch my parents make the same mistake all over again, can I? But I never expected He Mingling to come looking for me on his own. When he saw me, he stiffened his neck, his face full of defiance. I didn't indulge him either. I pretended not to see him, walked right around him, and left. "Alright, Lu Monli, drop the act. I know you have feelings for me. How about I give you a chance to prove yourself in front of me?" He Mingling sounded like he was doing me a favor. At that moment, I was genuinely curious about what he was up to, so I nodded. Helming was quite pleased with my reaction. Everything was going exactly as he had anticipated. He extended his hand, raised an eyebrow, and said, "Lend me 10,000 yuan, ha, so it's about money after all. But isn't he already married to the reigning best actress? Why would you need to borrow money?" He Mingling, what do you need the money for? It suddenly dawned on me, a past life. As soon as Su Jia won Best Actress, my best friend, who works at a DNA testing lab and is a total gossip, couldn't wait to tell me all about it, if I remember correctly from my past life. The reason Su Jiejie dropped out after confessing to He Minglang was because she was pregnant. Yeah, that's right, she was pregnant. But He Minglang wasn't even with Su Jiejie at that time, so whose child was it? Wow, I never thought He Minglang would be willing to be the fall guy this time around. He's really going all out for the future best actress. Huh, I was still lost in thought when He Minglang's face clouded with impatience. What do you need the money for? That's none of your business. No way, I just gave He Minglang my back and walked off without a second glance. He Minglang was absolutely furious with me and spent a long time ranting about me to the whole class, but even if he hadn't said anything, the news about Su Jiejie's pregnancy still got out among the students. There's a rumor going around that Su Jiejie runs in those rich kid circles and has a reputation for being available to anyone. Then there's another piece of gossip that Su Jiejie was once dragged into an abandoned building by a gang of thugs and didn't come out until the next day. I know, all of this is true. Soon enough, the gossip train pulled into my station. When our homeroom teacher found out that Su Jiejie was pregnant and still dating He Minglang, she nearly fainted from anger and immediately called in their parents. That weirdo, He Minglang, just wouldn't leave me alone. They're saying I'm the one who snitched. I can't even. He and Su Jiejie are holding hands all over campus every day. They might as well announce it to the teachers themselves. Why would I need to snitch? I ignored that lunatic, pulled out my phone, and dialed his mom's number. Say one more word, and I'm telling your mom. He Minglang was clearly terrified too. He pointed at me, hurling a string of curses before turning tail and running. I finally had some peace and quiet, but He Minglang's parents still got called into school. When Su Jiejie's parents found out their daughter was pregnant, they insisted the He family pay the bride price up front, with the wedding to follow right after the kids graduated. You could tell at a glance they were a real piece of work. The whole family, the He family, could tell at a glance that this other family wasn't up to their standard and wanted nothing to do with them. To their surprise, He Minglang was dead set on taking responsibility, no matter who tried to talk him out of it. He Minglang was determined to be with Su Jiejie. Mrs. He knew we used to be close, so she wanted me to talk some sense into He Minglang. I turned her down right away. I certainly didn't want to stir up any trouble. He Minglang even shot me a warning look. If you dare try to talk me out of it, I'll make sure you regret it. Right, you're so impressive. Didn't you already get me killed in our past life? He Minglang, if you insist on being with Su Jiejie and skip the college entrance exam, then as far as I'm concerned, I no longer have a son, Mrs. He was at her wit's end, resorting to a final threat, but it was useless. He Minglang was acting like he was under a spell, only I knew the reason why. He was simply dazzled by the glamorous life of the future movie queen's husband. It's a shame only I know who went to have their DNA tested by their best friend in a past life. That person, that result. It's just too interesting. Chapter 2. I'm biding my time, waiting to see how that scumbag and that bitch will get what's coming to them. Until then, I chose to focus on my studies and ignore He Minglang. However, rumors about him and Su Jiejie were constantly circulating among the students. I heard He Minglang went to see Su Jiejie. What kind of illness does she have, anyway? She hasn't even been coming to class. After being publicly criticized, the two of them became infamous at school. He Minglang kept skipping class to go find Su Jiejie. His teachers and parents had already given up on him. I wasn't interested in their news, so I packed up my things and headed home. On the way, He Minglang appeared in front of me with his arm around Su Jiejie. Su Jiejie's outfit didn't look like a high school student's at all. She looked more like a streetwise girl from the wrong side of the tracks. He Minglang no longer had the triumphant, energetic air he'd had when he first returned from his rebirth. His complexion was dull, and his eyes were filled with exhaustion. He seemed furious, snarling at me like a dog. Lu Monli, you're disgusting. You deliberately told my parents about me and Jiejie. You just can't stand to see me happy. How pathetic can you be? I don't like you at all. I won't break up with Jiejie. And I will never, ever be with you. Su Jiejie nestled smugly into He Minglang's embrace and declared with deep affection, Minglang, you're so wonderful. You're the only one in this world who truly loves me, and I will never leave you. I was so angry I could only laugh. In a mocking tone, she said, He Minglang, are you an average guy with delusions of grandeur? Which of your damn eyes saw that I liked you? Did I like it when you skipped class, or did I enjoy being hit by you? With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, they embraced and kissed as if no one else was there. He Mingling declared with conviction, even if my parents don't approve, even if everyone looks down on us, I will be with you. You are the love of my life. The baby in your belly will be my own child. Well, of course, a single film pays tens of millions. What's the big deal about helping a movie queen raise her son? He Mingling ended up taking Su Jiejie back home. The teacher discovered He Mingling had skipped the exam and called his parents. His parents, having reached their limit, followed He Mingling to see what he was really up to outside. They found out he had rented an apartment where he was keeping a pregnant Su Jiejie. Mrs. He felt as if struck by a thunderbolt and shrieked, "Have you gotten someone pregnant, mister?" He was so furious he nearly staggered, taking off his shoe and charging over to beat He Mingling savagely. That evening, the commotion next door was deafening. He Mingling yelled, "The child in her belly is mine. How can you be so cruel, Mom and Dad? You'd actually abort your own grandchild." Su Jiejie was sobbing and sniffling. "You beast, I don't have a son like you. Get out, both of you, get out," roared Mr. My parents exchanged a look. How did He Mingling turn out like this? He used to be so obedient, and his grades were excellent. His teachers all said he was a shoo-in for Tsinghua or Peking University. "Lily, don't you go following his example. Let's focus on the exams first, then we can talk about dating." I agreed with a smile. In this life or the last, I've always known what I wanted. Soon after, Su Jiejie's father arrived. Unlike the last time at the school, Mr. Su didn't lay a hand on He Mingling, nor did he utter a single harsh word. Instead, his face lit up with a grin. "My daughter is carrying your family's grandson," he said cheerfully. "Hurry up and arrange the wedding banquet. I won't ask for much in bride price, just 500,000 will do, mister." He slammed the table. "What kind of nonsense are you spouting? They're still kids themselves." "What do you mean, having a baby? And the college entrance exams are just around the corner, mister." Sue's expression darkened. "Your son had the guts to sleep with her, but not the guts to take responsibility. Let me tell you, if you don't pay the bride price, I'll go to your workplace and make a scene every single day." With a furious shout, Mr. He grabbed a chair and charged forward. The sound of smashing and crashing echoed through the neighborhood, sending Mrs. He into a panic as she cried out, "Stop fighting." Chaos erupted next door, and neighbors rushed in to pull the two apart. Mr. Su was still shouting, demanding a bride price of 500,000. He Mingling stepped forward and declared earnestly, "I will take responsibility for Jiejie. Please, stop fighting." Before she could finish, "Mother," he slapped her across the face. Panting and furious, she cursed, "I regret ever giving birth to a thing like you. How are you going to take responsibility? Go earn that 500,000 yourself and give it to him. You could drain your mother and father dry and it still wouldn't be enough." Su Jiejie knelt down, weeping, "It's my fault. It's all my fault. Please don't hit Mingling." He Mingling also knelt down, holding Su Jiejie as he broke down into uncontrollable sobs. "It's not your fault. I just loved you too much." At that moment, they were like the star-crossed lovers from a TV drama. Only I knew that what He Mingling was clinging to so desperately was Su Jiejie's bright future. But, once you're tainted by someone like him, is there even a future left? What's more, there's no such thing as a guaranteed future. The same people who can crown a queen can just as easily turn a phoenix into a barnyard chicken. I'll be waiting for the show to begin. No one knows how He Mingling managed to convince his parents, but in the end, the He family came up with a bride price of 500,000. Word has it they went to relatives, borrowing door to door. A crushing debt of 500,000 yuan weighed heavily on the He family. Father He became withdrawn and taciturn, smoking all day with a face etched in worry. Mother He grew irritable, constantly berating Su Jiejie, blaming her for ruining her son and destroying the He family. Yet He Mingling, casting off his former weariness, began to take his studies seriously and showed Su Jiejie daily care and concern. When he saw me, he looked at me with disdain and said, "Some people are just stingy. Don't even think about getting close to me in the future." Staring at his snobbish face, I suddenly remembered my past life, where he had a respectable job. After work, he would gently hold me and sigh, "A simple, ordinary life is true happiness," I asked with a smile. "Don't you like the idea of a wealthy life?" He replied, "Having just enough money to get by is fine. A man with too much money is bound to go astray. He's broke right now, all for the sake of a future best actress." He schemed against his own parents and ended up saddled with debt. this whole farce seems to have come to an end. Time flashed by. I got into Peking University as I had hoped, achieving my first major life goal. My teacher was beaming from ear to ear. My parents were overjoyed and threw a big celebratory banquet, inviting all our friends and relatives. At the table, a neighbor remarked, "I heard the son next door only got into a third-tier college, and the tuition is outrageously expensive." It's nothing like Lily's situation. She got a full scholarship. Back in his school days, he was always chasing after that girl, skipping classes, and even missing exams. How could he possibly get good grades? It's such a hardship for the He family, to be stuck with a son like that. Mrs. He has been trying to mend fences with our family. She's dropped by a few times, and every time she just complains about Su Jiejie being lazy and good for nothing. He Mingling still defends her, saying she's working hard carrying their child and asking what if she gets hurt doing housework. Now He Mingling didn't get into a good university, and the school he did get into has such expensive tuition, the He family simply can't afford it. There was another big argument next door last night. Mr. and Mrs. He haven't stepped out all day. After seeing off the classmates who came for the banquet, I turned to head back inside. Just then, the door next door swung open. He Mingling saw me, and his face immediately darkened. He said resentfully, "Don't get cocky. So what if you got into Peking University? You'll still end up working for some rich boss in the future. You'll always be a wage slave, slaving away for a few $1,000 a month, maybe 10 grand if you're lucky. Me, I'm different." I didn't even glance his way. I just slammed the door shut. So, he already knows who got the class beauty pregnant. That one kid, the local tycoon's son. So you think you can pave your way to a bright future by raising other people's sons and mistresses? We're just walking two completely different paths. I packed my bags and set off on a graduation trip. My parents were very supportive. They said to take the opportunity while I have the time to see more of the world. The more you experience, the harder it is to be fooled, and the tougher your character becomes. After graduating in my previous life, I followed He Mingling to join an interest class. He said that in big cities, all the other students had a special skill, and if we didn't know anything, we'd be laughed at. Later, he used the skills he learned to join a club. As for the club activities, his participation was sporadic and inconsistent. After the initial passion faded, I spent my entire college years holed up in my dorm room playing video games. I traveled to a few cities, and my heart suddenly settled when I returned home again. My parents told me that He Mingling didn't plan on going to university. He said he knew finance and was going to stay at home to trade stocks. I remember back in university, some finance majors were discussing how the stock market fluctuates. Maybe He Mingling remembers which stock to buy. Not my business. I packed my bags and headed for the new school. I was immersed in a sea of knowledge, occasionally calling my parents when news about He Mingling came through. I heard that Su Jiejie had given birth to a son. However, the He couple secretly arranged for a paternity test and finally discovered the child was not their biological grandson. They raised a huge fuss, demanding to throw Su Jiejie out and refusing to support her and her illegitimate child. He Mingling refused, swearing solemnly, "I am the child's father. I promised Jiejie I would take responsibility for her and the child." Old mister, he flew into a rage, shouting, "He Mingling, have you lost your mind, raising another man's child, Mrs.?" He was so furious her hands trembled, and she fainted on the spot. He Mingling continued to gently comfort Su Jiejie, saying he would never abandon her and the child, and that he would provide for them. Su Jiejie was moved to tears. "I love you, you are the light of my life, you've saved me." Mom gave me a vivid, animated account of their whole story. The He couple finally saw their son for who he was. His eyes were only for Su Jiejie, and he was all too willing to be the one to pick up the pieces. He would rather lie to his parents and shoulder a mountain of debt. He would rather drive his mother to a serious illness with rage than let go of Su Jiejie and her child. The He family couple threw the two of them out, declaring, "I no longer have a son like you, get out." He Mingling had made a tidy profit from stock trading and completely dismissed his parents' harsh words. He felt his parents didn't understand him. Even if this child of Su Jiejie's wasn't his, the next one would surely be his. "Mom, Dad, you'll regret this someday." With that, he took Su Jiejie by the hand, held their child, and left with unwavering resolve. "I only regret not throwing you out back then," the He couple shouted, slamming the door shut. Over the past year, their hair had turned much grayer, and their backs seemed to have grown hunched. Mom sighed over the phone, lamenting what a wretched mess it all was. I really feel for his parents, they've had such a rough go of it. He was their only son, and they poured all their energy into raising him, pinning all their hopes on his success, and now, they've had to let go of the child they raised for nearly 20 years. Seasons come and go. I had been immersed in the medical field for years and had worked at prestigious hospitals. I plunged into the hectic life of an internship, by sheer chance. I ran into He Mingling and Su Jiejie right there in the hospital. Su Jiejie had put on weight, her hair was disheveled, and she was clutching a child tightly in her arms. Her face was etched with sorrow, yet one could still faintly trace the elegant arch of her once beautiful brows. He Mingling, he's your own flesh and blood, even if he's not all there mentally, you can't just abandon him. Are you trying to get charged with child abandonment? Su Jiejie tearfully and fiercely confronted the man before her. He's an idiot, what's the point of raising him? We'd be better off investing all our money in He Zhendong. He's smart, we can't hold him back. He Mingling's tone was irritable. In that moment, he bore no resemblance to the youth of years past, nor did he retain any trace of the dignified and proper demeanor from his previous life. His cold calculation of gains and losses, his shrewd scheming, were all laid bare, sending a chill down one's spine. At the very least, his wife broke into loud, heart-wrenching sobs upon hearing his words. You're the fool, you've completely ruined He Zhendong. He's just a child, yet he spends money like water and throws tantrums when he doesn't get his way, and you, acting like a lunatic, sending him to some business interest class, you call that nurturing from a young age. Is that any way to raise a child? I don't think you ever really loved me. He Mingling slapped her hard across the face and grabbed Su Jiejie by the hair, voice dripping with venom. If it weren't for me, your father would have beaten you to death long ago. I've given you all these years of a cushy life, so you damn well better do exactly as I say. Su Jiejie wept bitterly, enduring his kicks and punches, terrified he might strike the child she cradled in her arms. To think a former movie queen could fall so low, well, it's not really surprising. After all, I did warn that billionaire's son. Since Su Jiejie found someone to take responsibility, wouldn't he want to check if the child is actually his? In a past life, Su Jiejie was carrying the child of those thugs, and He Mingling wasn't willing to step up. She had no choice but to put on a brave face and play the innocent victim, somehow managing to fool the naive son of the wealthy family. Perfect. Now that the landlord's family has investigated and found no connection to them, shouldn't they hurry up and draw a clear line? The dream of becoming a best actress was shattered. I couldn't stand to watch any longer and spoke up to stop it. Seizing the opportunity, Su Jiejie hurried away without a backward glance. He Mingling's face was dark, his eyes venomous as he stared at Su Jiejie and the child in her arms. My heart skipped a beat. I had seen that look before I could react. He Mingling turned his head. Upon seeing it was me, a flicker of embarrassment crossed his face, and he instinctively straightened his somewhat worn clothes. I gave him a nod and turned to leave, but he suddenly called out to stop me. Lu Monli, how have you been? As he spoke, he seemed to be searching my expression for something. I scoffed. Some people are born dreamers. Did they really think I'd turn back and let them bleed me dry? I turned and walked away without a second thought. After a long day's work, I headed home. My parents had dinner ready and waiting for me. A warm smile spread across my face. At the dinner table, the same old topic of urging me to get married came up. As usual, I brushed it off. This is the time to focus on my career. I have no mind for marriage at all. At the table, my parents started talking about Uncle He and Auntie He again. After all, they've been neighbors for over 20 years. The grudge from that slap all those years ago has slowly faded with time. He Mingling lost a fortune in the stock market and racked up hundreds of thousands in debt. Old He worked his fingers to the bone to pay off that 500,000 for him. He hadn't even caught his breath before. Ugh, here we go again. I think old He and his family should just sell the house and move away. That would put a stop to him showing up at their door making a scene every single day. No sooner had those words been spoken, a commotion broke out over at the He residence. Money, money, money. How much have you taken from me? You ignore your own son, yet you're willing to spend a fortune on someone else's kid. Fancy hobby classes, elite private schools. Why don't you just turn him into a billionaire while you're at it? Old man He slammed things around, shouting and cursing furiously. Dad, He Zhendong is really brilliant. He's going to be a billionaire one day. If you sell the house and help me pay off my debts, I swear you'll be the richest old man around. Get out, you're insane. no wonder Su Jiejie ran off. Mother, he shrieked curses as she drove He Mingling out of the house. In the dead of night, the low, muffled sobs of the two elderly people could be heard. I secretly gave Su Jiejie a like. It seems, to this day, she still hasn't told He Mingling that their eldest son isn't actually the heir of the wealthiest family, but the offspring of a local ruffian. He Mingling is still clinging to his delusion of gaining status through his son. Well, in dreams, anything is possible. A few months later, I ran into He Mingling and his whole family when I returned home. He Mingling knelt at the doorstep of the He family home, clutching his mentally disabled young son in his arms, weeping bitterly. Mom, Dad, how can you bear to watch your own grandson remain like this? Please, I'm begging you, help me. He kowtowed repeatedly, his forehead soon bleeding from the force. Beside him, Su Jiejie stood with a numb expression, her lips dark and her frame gaunt. Not a trace of love for He Mingling remained in her eyes. He Mingling cried and accused his parents of being heartless, saying they wouldn't give him a single cent and were trying to drive him to his death. Yet, the door to the home he had lived in for 20 years remained shut in his face. What he didn't know was that his parents had already sold the house and moved away. Over the years, they were worn down, both physically and mentally, by He Mingling's constant visits to demand money. They were utterly humiliated in front of their neighbors and relatives, unable to hold their heads up. They have fled this place, and I, too, will keep moving forward. Only He Mingling remains trapped in the delusion of having raised a future tycoon. I requested a transfer to a hospital in another city from my supervisor. I settled my parents into the new environment and threw myself into my work. Years later, I had become a renowned doctor and had a lovely, healthy child. I saw He Mingling again at a class reunion, more than 20 years later. Lu Monli, how have you been lately? I looked at the old man standing before me. His hair was gray, and he wore a bulky cotton-padded jacket, his hands and feet seeming awkward and uneasy. I still couldn't figure out who he was. Back in the day, I was in the top class, and we were all gunning for prestigious universities. Nowadays, all my classmates have successful careers. They take great care of themselves and look like they're just in their early 30s. Is that you, teacher? I asked hesitantly. Only a teacher would have hair so white with age. But why is he dressed so shabbily? The old man before me froze, his lips trembling. I am He Mingling. I was stunned and instinctively took 2 steps back. Before I could get a good look at his face, a burly guy with dyed blonde hair came running down the corridor. He grabbed He Mingling by the hair, slapped him across the face, and yelled, "You old bastard, you said you were broke, but here you are living it up in a hotel. Wire me the money now. This time my startup will definitely succeed. Didn't you always say I had tycoon blood in me? Stop being such a goddamn cheapskate." The commotion instantly drew the attention of every classmate in the hotel room. He Mingling's face immediately swelled up, and he instinctively shielded his head. My gaze was complicated. I could hardly believe this was the childhood friend I remembered. In my memory, after his rebirth, his eyes always carried an air of arrogance. Utterly convinced he was destined for a life of wealth and privilege, he drained his parents dry, abandoned his own son, and still lavished wealth on raising Su Jiejie's illegitimate child. Now, with a face worn by age, he cowered before the man beating him, too timid to fight back. His classmates couldn't stand to watch any longer and stepped in to pull them apart and calm things down. The presence of a crowd seemed to embolden He Mingling. He suddenly snapped, shoving away the man who had been holding on to him. "He Zhendong, I don't owe you a damn thing. If you want money, go earn it yourself." He Zhendong stumbled back from the shove, seemingly caught off guard by He Mingling's defiance. The next second, he lunged forward like a madman. "All right, haven't had enough of a beating yet, is that it? You're the one who told me to start a business, you bastard, you useless old man. No wonder my mom ran off with that idiot and some old geezer instead of staying with you." He Zhendong flew into a rage and began savagely beating He Mingling. Judging by the way he was throwing punches, he'd clearly done this before. Someone in the crowd couldn't take it anymore and shouted that they were calling the police. He Zhendong froze at the words, then spat in disgust. "You'll pay for this," he snarled before storming off. The whole class sighed with pity, remembering how his affair with Su Jiejie had been the talk of the town. To this day, no one has forgotten. Who could have imagined their story would end like this? With everything changed and nothing as it was, He Mingling slumped to the floor, his face buried in his hands. Tears slowly trickled through his fingers. The class reunion that day broke up rather quickly. When it ended, I couldn't see He Mingling anywhere. It seems he left early. His classmates looked after him, much like one would care for a destitute old man on the street. He sat in the plush, comfortable chair, keeping his head down and saying nothing. Later, he developed a gambling habit. He thought it was a quick way to make money. He believed that with just 1 or 2 lucky wins, he could win back all the money his father had invested in him, yet he failed, time and time again. No, I'll try again, this time, I know I can do it. He Zhendong grabbed He Mingling's sleeve, swearing earnestly, but He Mingling didn't have a single penny left. For years, he was driven by a single-minded obsession to make He Zhendong a successful entrepreneur and the richest man. Working 5 jobs a day to make it happen, his body was already worn down and riddled with ailments. Aged and frail, He Zhendong became volatile and quick-tempered, even resorting to violence against him and selling off everything of value in the house. I next heard about He Mingling on the news. The reporter said that he, in a depraved frenzy to get money for gambling, had tricked his elderly father into going to northern Myanmar to sell a kidney, where the old man died on the operating table. He was subsequently arrested and imprisoned by the police. I let out a sigh just as the sound of the door opening came from the entrance. My son pulled out a necklace and said with a beaming smile, "Mom, look, I bought this for you with my first paycheck. Isn't it pretty?" I held it in my hands with delight, feeling the corners of my eyes grow moist. The end. Story 2. My ex-husband committed suicide. After his death, I accidentally saw his diary and finally learned the truth behind our divorce. There was never any mistress, no infidelity, only his fragmented, fleeting life. By chance, I traveled back 15 years and met 11-year-old Pei Song again. When there was still time for everything, I chose to stand in front of the weak and helpless him, telling him, "Don't be afraid, I'll protect you." Less than a year after the divorce, my ex-husband Pei Song committed suicide. I received a call from back home. The person said he was a policeman. He said Pei Song was dead, had jumped into the sea to kill himself, and asked me to return to identify his body. Suicide by jumping into the sea, how could that be? I was the one who taught him how to swim, not to mention he just transferred alimony to my account yesterday, just 1 day later, and he's dead. Thinking it was another international prank, I replied, "Didn't he get married again? Why look for his ex-wife instead of his current wife?" After identifying their unit and badge number, the voice on the phone continued, "Mr. Pei Song was never married. You're the only contact we could find for him." The moment I realized it was true, tears gushed from my eyes as if I'd been struck by lightning. After that, I couldn't hear anything else. The police said, Pei Song and I had been married for 4 years when I discovered his infidelity. We divorced amicably. He offered to leave with nothing, but I refused, letting him keep the house while taking only half of our savings before moving to Germany. Apart from transferring his monthly salary to me, we had no further contact. I took the first flight back in a daze, only to find a bloated, unrecognizable Pei Song in an advanced state of decomposition. The seawater had swollen and rotted his body beyond recognition. Only our wedding ring on his finger allowed me to identify him. After Pei Song was buried, his lawyer He Ping found me and handed over the cat Pei Song had raised to me. The cat is named Song Song. It was a birthday gift I gave Pei Song for his 21st birthday. Before committing suicide, Pei Song asked He Ping to take care of the cat for a few days. Song Song doesn't know its owner is gone. He Ping said Pei Song left me a house and 730,000 in savings as compensation. This was nearly everything he had, too. I pressed He Ping, "Why did Pei Song commit suicide?" He Ping said, "Dissociative conversion disorder, a long-accumulated depressive mood spiraling out of control." I don't believe it. Pei Song was clearly such a rational person. What exactly could have pushed him step by step toward death? He Ping's expression turned grave. "I don't know if what I'm doing is right, but I think you have the right to know the truth." He handed me a USB drive. "You might not be aware since you're abroad, but the videos on this USB have been maliciously spread and circulated online over the past year. They even posted it on the forum of the university where Professor Pei worked, causing him to lose his job. Later, Professor Pei's dissociative conversion disorder relapsed, which might be one of the reasons for Mr. Pei Song's suicide. The USB drive contained hundreds of videos showing 12-year-old Pei Song being violated and humiliated. In the videos, he appeared utterly desperate and helpless. Just one video made me feel unbearably tormented, with a deep sense of powerlessness spreading through my entire body. It felt as if countless needles suddenly pierced me. causing excruciating pain in every organ. I couldn't believe that my husband, whom I treasured dearly, had been treated so cruelly. How much pain he must have endured. With a trembling voice on the verge of tears, I pointed at the abuser in the video and asked He Ping, who is he? Did he also spread the video? He Ping. His name is Zhu Mo, Pei Song's stepfather. After Pei Song's mother died of cancer, he began abusing Pei Song for over a year. Then he abandoned Pei Song at an orphanage and used these videos to blackmail him, extorting large sums of money every year, until a year ago, Zhu Mo, deep in gambling debt, made an outrageous demand for 2 million from Pei Song. When refused, he angrily leaked the videos online before fleeing abroad illegally. He remains at large to this day. I listened silently, my heart aching as if cut by knives. He had endured so much alone during times I never knew. Later, I found Pei Song's diary, densely filled with records of the days and nights he endured torment, along with countless nightmares he could never escape. His parents, teachers, classmates, friends, none of them ever treated him kindly, and their abuse became a shadow that Pei Song could never shake off in his life. Yet he saw me as the only light in his bleak and hopeless existence, the last straw in his sorrowful life. His brief 26 years came to an abrupt end, yet he said, "I am finally free." He said, "The only one I feel guilty toward is my wife." After reading all the diaries, my tears fell like rain. I should have noticed earlier. I shouldn't have let him face all this alone. 3. Our wedding photo still hangs on the wall in the room, capturing the slight curve of his lips as he looked at me. Suddenly, I remembered our freshman year, the second year of my relentless pursuit of him. When we sat by the window in a corner of the library, he read his book, and I watched him. He lifted his gaze to meet mine, his voice soft and bitter. "Xie Qiao, do I really deserve your affection like this? You don't even know me." And what did I say then? I leaned close, whispering in his ear, "Of course you do. You deserve the best in this world." His face flushed with anger, tinged slightly red. His already pale lips bitten until they reddened. He gazed deeply at me, as if mustering great resolve. "Xie Qiao, I agree." Distracted, I lost myself in his beautiful amber eyes. Agree to what? When I finally processed it, I was so thrilled I nearly jumped. "Really?" Before I could finish speaking, his slender hand covered my mouth, afraid I'd get so excited I'd run around the library. I pried his hand away and kissed him right on the lips. His face instantly turned red all the way to the back of his ears, as if about to drip blood. Feeling smug, I planted another kiss on his cheek. "You're already my boyfriend, still scared of me kissing you." I thought I was the passive one in our relationship, but in his diary, he wrote, "Jiao Jiao, I'm so glad you came. I was walking alone in the darkness, thinking I would be forever lost in the night, but only you came to me with a lamp, wanting to take my hand and lead me toward brighter places. Every moment with you feels like stolen time, so I tread carefully, afraid you might not love me, yet also afraid you might love me too much, afraid you'd discover my broken past, afraid you'd grow to despise me." I hugged the diary and cried. Even the affair I thought had happened turned out to be just his stupid ploy to divorce me. 4. I kept rereading the diary that recorded Pei Song's entire life until, at some point, I fell into a deep sleep. In the dream, a voice asked me, "Do you want to see him again?" "I do." Then my consciousness suddenly cleared. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to 15 years ago. Back then, I was 12 years old, he was 11, and there was still time for everything. Originally, I was supposed to transfer schools during the second semester of my senior year at 17, becoming Pei Song's desk mate at the new school, but now, the timeline had to be moved up. At my insistence, my parents finally agreed to let me transfer to the middle school Pei Song attended, bringing our meeting 5 years earlier than fate intended. Anfang Middle School, Class 1-1, standing at the podium introducing myself to the class. "I'm Xie Qiao, the new transfer student." My eyes kept scanning through the group of children until they landed on a dark-skinned, skinny, short boy sitting by the trash can in the back row, wearing faded clothes. He looked like an awkward little outcast compared to his classmates, but I recognized him at first glance. It was Xiao Pei Song. My eyes still welled up. I thought I'd never see him again. He was as thin as Pei Song in his senior year, only back then he wasn't as dark and short as now. The teacher told me to choose an empty seat, so I walked straight toward Pei Song and, ignoring the others' gazes, sat right beside him. He didn't look at me, just kept searching through the drawer with his head down. But after a long while found nothing. I knew he was avoiding me. He wasn't good at interacting with strangers. I greeted him. "Hello, my name is Xie Qiao, and you?" Only when he heard me speak did he stop what he was doing and timidly reply, "Pei Song." Pei Song still refused to look at me, clearly unwilling to exchange another word. I couldn't help but stare at his spindly legs, no thicker than my arms, an 11-year-old boy with the stature of an 8 or 9-year-old. His sallow hair and sunken cheeks gave every appearance of malnutrition. It pained me just to look at him. Pei Song's biological father died when he was 8, after which he lived with his remarried mother. His stepfather treated him as an unwanted burden, beating and berating him while his mother turned a blind eye. Sometimes when the couple argued, they would both take their anger out on Pei Song. After his mother died of cancer when he was 12. Pei Song was sexually assaulted by his stepfather before being abandoned at an orphanage. These were all things I only learned from Pei Song's diary after his death. He never willingly spoke about his past in front of me. Now that I'm back, Pei Song's life is just beginning, and I absolutely won't let him repeat those mistakes. I must make everyone who ever wronged Pei Song pay the price, before his mother passes away. I'll do everything possible to have my parents adopt him, completely freeing him from that suffocating future described in the diary. 5. During breakfast, everyone gradually took out their own meals to eat. I opened the breakfast my mom prepared, a box of sushi, 2 eggs, a carton of milk, 3 shumai, plus a Swiss roll. "That's my mom for you. She knows my tastes inside out." Beside me, Pei Song pulled out a white plastic bag from his worn-out backpack, containing just one small steamed bun, clearly not the school's breakfast either. It's downright heartless. In that household, Pei Song had to work and serve them, yet he couldn't even get enough to eat. No wonder. At an age when he should be growing, Pei Song remained thin and small. Probably noticing my gaze, he subtly shielded the object with his arm. Eating just one small bun for breakfast, no matter who you are, would leave anyone starving with their stomachs growling by noon. Dismissal. This thought made my blood boil instantly. I enthusiastically called out to the girl sitting in front of me, "This is sushi my mom made. It's delicious. You should try some." After giving each of them 2 pieces, I naturally pushed the last 2 sushi pieces in the box towards Pei Song. "Pei Song, you should try some too. It's really delicious." Pei Song shook his head. "No need, I have something to eat." He stubbornly turned his head towards the window. I pushed the box closer again, grinning. "I promise, it's really tasty. If I'm lying, I'm a dog." Pei Song hesitated for a moment, but seeing the 2 girls in front eating quite naturally, he followed suit by picking up a piece of sushi and putting it in his mouth. "Is it delicious?" Pei Song nodded. I continued looking at him expectantly with my face raised. "If it's good, have another piece." Pei Song picked up another piece and ate it, though it took some effort. Pei Song managed to eat 2 pieces of sushi, which at least filled his stomach a little, but ultimately wasn't satisfying enough. I pointed at the bun Pei Song was covering with his hand. "Pei Song, I want to eat your bun." Pei Song looked at me with confusion, his eyes full of puzzlement, but when he thought about having just eaten my sushi, he couldn't bring himself to refuse, only stammering, "The bun is a bit hard." "No problem. My teeth are strong," I said, directly taking it from the plastic bag and taking a bite. Damn, it really was hard, cold and tough to chew. How heartless. Even the bun was rock solid. Noticing Pei Song staring intently at me, I feigned composure, eating the bun without changing my expression, and even remarked between bites, "Not bad, the bun's alright." After finally finishing the steamed buns, I pushed the milk and eggs toward him firmly. "I ate your breakfast, so I'm giving you these eggs and milk in exchange. No refusing." I deliberately emphasized the last 4 words. Pei Song, afraid of upsetting me, finally accepted them. Only under my watchful eye did he manage to eat all the eggs and milk. These tactics were lessons I learned from the 17-year-old Pei Song. Back then, he wouldn't eat the breakfast I brought unless I was sharing it with many people. Only then would he reluctantly accept a little. This trick worked like a charm on him every time. After eating breakfast, he looked much more energetic. Apparently his listless appearance had just been from hunger. I made up my mind to fatten Pei Song up no matter what. 6. Pei Song sat in the corner of the classroom all day, with almost no one talking to him. I started taking the initiative to make conversation. "Pei Song, can I borrow your eraser?" "Pei Song, I'm sleepy and gonna take a nap. Wake me up if the teacher comes." During one class, I could call Pei Song's name dozens of times, and even pull him aside to chat during breaks. He never got annoyed, just listened to me talk and handed me the eraser. When I dozed off in class and the teacher approached, he'd awkwardly tug my sleeve and whisper for me to wake up. In the diary, 11-year-old Pei Song appears lonely, his childish handwriting slightly askew as he writes, "No one wants to be friends with me. I came so I could be his friend." During the break between classes, several boys walked to the back of the classroom holding drink bottles, standing 2 meters away as they started tossing them into the trash bin. Just as I returned from fetching water outside, I saw a boy named Wang Li hurl a half-full bottle directly at Pei Song, who was sleeping on his desk, then quickly throw a second and third bottle. Bang, bang, bang. The dull sound of a heavy object hitting flesh echoed through the classroom. Pei Song couldn't dodge in time. Grimacing in pain as his face contorted slightly, the group of boys started jeering. "You're supposed to throw it into the trash can, not at the trash itself. Can't you even do that right?" Wang Li then taunted Pei Song with a mocking tone. "Hey, you next to the trash can, pick up that bottle and throw it in properly." Pei Song glanced at the arrogant boys, then at the bottle beside the trash can. He bent down, preparing to pick up the drink bottle that had hit him and toss it into the bin. The way Wang Li and those boys were so skilled at bossing around and bullying Pei Song, they must have been tormenting him like this regularly. I was furious and swung the water bottle I had just filled, smashing it hard against Wang Li's back. Wang Li yelped in pain and turned around. "Who was that? Who hit me? That really hurt. So you know it hurts too. If it hurts, why do you do it to others?" Wang Li, flushed with anger, tried to hit me, but as soon as he raised his hand, I firmly grabbed it and delivered a resounding slap across his face, followed by an over-the-shoulder throw that sent him crashing to the ground. At this age, girls are often slightly taller than boys, and having been sent to learn taekwondo since childhood, taking him down was effortless for me. Wang Li lay on the ground, clutching his hand and howling in pain. "My hand is broken, broken." I crouched down, prying open the hand he was clutching. "Even if it's broken, you're going to pick up that bottle you threw." "Ah, ouch, ouch, ouch. Let go. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up." "All right." Wang Li screamed in pain. The whole class gathered around as Wang Li awkwardly picked up the scattered drink bottles from the floor and threw them into the trash bin. "See, you could throw it in just fine." Pei Song looked visibly shocked by the scene, probably never expecting me to stand up for him like this. Wang Li was always the type to bully the weak and fear the strong. Seeing he couldn't beat me, he ran out crying. The boys who had gathered around also scattered like frightened birds, afraid they'd be next. Pei Song picked up my water bottle from the ground, wiped it clean, and handed it to me hesitantly. "Your water bottle. He'll go tell the teacher on you." "It's fine, I'm not afraid. He bullied you first. I saw it all. Why are you helping me?" Pei Song's words were spoken very softly and without much confidence. He had been bullied for more than just a day or two, but no one had ever stood up for him before. I looked into his eyes seriously. "Aren't we desk mates? It's only right that I help you." "Pei Song, thank you." These two words were uttered so lightly they were almost inaudible, but I still managed to hear them. I secretly rejoiced. Apparently, the 11-year-old Pei Song was much easier to approach than the 17-year-old version. "That's good." 7. Sure enough, just before school ended, I was called out by the homeroom teacher. Pei Song looked at me with concern, worried I'd be scolded or punished for what happened earlier. I didn't care. Before leaving, I reassured him, "Don't worry, nothing will happen." And indeed, nothing did. My parents might not have much else, but their ability to protect their kid is top-notch. In the office, on one side were Wang Li with several layers of bandages wrapped around his arm and the red mark of a slap still visible on his face. Along with his parents, on the other side were my parents, who had been urgently summoned by the teacher before they could even leave work. Seeing Wang Li in that state, my mother grabbed my hand and whispered, "What kind of grudge is this? You dislocated his arm, and that huge slap mark on his face. TSK TSK, did you insist on transferring to this school just to beat him up?" Me, truly my mother, her thought process is something else. My father clearly stated that he would cover all medical expenses and compensate for emotional distress. Upon hearing my father's willingness to compensate for emotional distress, the other parents' expressions softened slightly, but they still insisted I apologize publicly, otherwise demanding the school expel me. Me, I won't apologize. But Wang Li must publicly apologize to Pei Song. He bullied classmates. Otherwise we'll call the police to handle this. My father frowned after hearing my words, then turned to stare at Wang Li. "I didn't do it." Wang Li began arguing with the teacher and parents. "It wasn't intentional. I just accidentally hit him when throwing the bottle into the trash can." Without another word, my dad demanded the teacher pull up the classroom surveillance footage. The footage revealed Wang Li's true malicious nature beneath his harmless appearance. Showing him bullying Pei Song in front of their classmates, the other parents' faces turned pale then flushed with anger. They never expected their well-behaved child to be a bully who falsely accused others at school, knowing they were in the wrong. They never brought up demanding an apology from me again. Wang Li was brought by his parents to face Pei Song, demanded to apologize. Reluctantly, Wang Li bowed to Pei Song. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have bullied you. Can you forgive me?" Surrounded by people, Wang Li, his parents, and teachers, all waiting for Pei Song's response, the weight of their unfriendly stares made it hard to breathe. Pei Song just stood there. His lips moved slightly as if he wanted to say something but couldn't bring himself to speak, the stubbornness in his eyes growing stronger. Seeing Pei Song like this, I began to regret why I had put him in such a position. Forcing him to forgive those who had bullied him, I stepped forward and took Pei Song's hand. "If you don't want to forgive, then we won't. Don't force yourself. He did wrong, and he brought this upon himself." Then I simply took him away, leaving those people standing there, exposed to everyone's gaze. Wang Li doesn't deserve forgiveness at all. 8. Holding Pei Song's hand, I walked up to my parents and introduced him. "Dad, Mom, this is a new friend I made today. His name is Pei Song." Pei Song was somewhat surprised. No one had ever formally introduced him to their parents like this before, especially as a friend. "Hello, Uncle and Auntie," he said softly. "Oh, hello, Xiao Pei." My mom was particularly enthusiastic about inviting all sorts of my friends over for meals. Sure enough, she warmly extended an invitation to Pei Song. "Xiao Pei, come over to our place this weekend. I'll cook something delicious for you all." My dad chimed in. "Right. Come to our place and stay with Aqiao. You can help Uncle keep an eye on her studies and make sure she doesn't just play around all day." Pei Song was a bit overwhelmed by my parents' enthusiasm but still responded politely. "Okay, Uncle and Auntie, this suited me perfectly. Now I'd have an excuse to bring him home for meals and let him bond with my parents beforehand." At this point, there were still nearly 3 months left before the time mentioned in the diary when Zhu Mo would make his move against Pei Song. But I had to start planning early. After all, every second Pei Song spent near that demon was another moment of danger. After I taught Wang Li a lesson this time, those who had bullied Pei Song in class no longer dared to bully him casually. My relationship with Pei Song also grew much closer. I started bringing an extra portion of breakfast every morning, using the excuse that my mom had prepared too much, and then begged Pei Song to help me finish it. Pei Song couldn't resist my persistent pleading and agreed to help me eat one steamed bun every day, but refused to take more. To make sure he had enough to eat, I asked my mom to replace the original small vegetable buns with extra large meat-filled ones. Hearing his stomach growl during evening self-study, and then watching him try to mask it by drinking water, I immediately dragged him to the noodle shop outside the school after class, saying I was too hungry for a midnight snack but was afraid to go alone at night, ordered 2 bowls of beef noodles at the noodle shop and made him eat with me. He could never win against my persistence, always obediently keeping me company. After meals, he'd quietly follow behind me, insisting on walking me home even if it wasn't on his way, only turning back after seeing me safely inside. When school occasionally handed out free meal coupons, I'd claim I disliked cafeteria food and preferred eating at home, then stuff them all into Pei Song's hands so he could have a proper lunch too. On weekends I'd drag him to my place for tutoring. My mom, feeling sorry for him, would always prepare a lavish spread and insist he stay for dinner, with the 3 of us each adding portions to his bowl. It'd be piled high in no time. Gazing at the occasional smile that Pei Song reveals, I often wish time could freeze forever in this moment. 9. Until the day Pei Song came to school injured and stood before me, completely shattering my illusion. There was a long wound on his jaw, the mark of a sharp weapons cut, clearly man-made. "Who hit you?" I asked him. "No, swear you're not lying to me." Pei Song remained silent, tacitly admitting he'd been beaten. "It was your stepfather." He nodded. It suddenly occurred to me that after Pei Song and I got together, I had asked him how he got the scar on his jaw. He said it was from a childhood fall, but it turns out he was lying to me. The scar I had kissed countless times was actually a mark left by domestic violence. I couldn't bear to imagine that every time I kissed it, it must have reminded him of those unbearable nightmares. "Come to the hospital with me," I said, pulling Pei Song to leave. he sat rigidly in the chair, refusing to move. It's just a minor injury, it'll heal in a few days. No. If left untreated, it'll leave a scar. I don't want you to have a scar, I said seriously. Seeing he still wouldn't budge, I sighed. Fine, just stay seated here, I'll be right back. I went to the infirmary to get medicine from the doctor, then returned to tend to Pei Song's wound. It might sting a little, I'll be quick. I used alcohol to clean his wound. The wound was deep, alcohol would definitely hurt. Yet he didn't make a single sound the whole time, his eyes silently enduring the pain. My heart ached for him, tears welling up uncontrollably in my eyes. Pei Song noticed and anxiously reached out to wipe my tears. Are you crying for me? I nodded and carefully applied the band-aid to the wound. You need to take care of yourself. It seemed no one had ever cared for him like this before, Pei Song thought. After a brief daze, he replied, okay. 10. One evening after self-study class, I dragged him out to eat again. While browsing the menu, I was thinking about what dishes Pei Song might like. Sitting across from me, he gazed out the window and suddenly asked, Xie Qiao, why are you so nice to me? I looked at him, hesitated for 2 seconds, still unsure how to begin, when I heard him say, is it because you pity me? Pei Song's gaze fell upon the elderly scavenger begging from passers-by outside the shop. Outside the window, the old man was barely clothed, with disabled legs that left him sitting on the ground. The passers-by hurried along, and only after a long while would someone stop to toss some loose change into his bowl before rushing away again. No one knows when the next person to stop for the elderly will arrive. My heart skipped a beat as I followed Pei Song's gaze to the scavenging old man. My hands paused, and I slowly said, no. Do I deserve you being so good to me? He asked again. In that moment, I nearly burst into tears. In a daze, I seemed to see the young Pei Song before me gradually merging with the lover from my memories. I looked earnestly into his eyes and said solemnly, you deserve it. You deserve the best in this world. Will you always be my friend? He asked cautiously, as if inquiring yet also seeking confirmation, to confirm whether the love he once yearned for but couldn't obtain had truly come to him this time, rather than being an illusion or charity that would shatter upon waking. Yes, I said hoarsely, my eyes reddening. I will always be your friend. The tense expression on Pei Song's face faded, replaced by an unprecedented sense of peace. The pitch-black night that had seemed devoid of light since his youth now faintly revealed a glimmer of hope. 11. After living like this for some time, he no longer looked as sallow and emaciated as when they first met, yet he remained haggard, often zoning out during class and frequently lacking energy. I knew it was because he had to care for his mother Ma Ying, who was already terminally ill. Ma Ying's liver cancer had been diagnosed several months prior. By then, tumors had spread throughout her entire liver, marking the late stage. His stepfather Zhu Mo refused to spend money on a woman he deemed worthless, coaxing Ma Ying into abandoning treatment just to preserve the funds for himself. Because of this, Ma Ying missed the optimal treatment period. Her condition became increasingly unstable and deteriorated day by day. Now she is like the setting sun, relying solely on Pei Song for care. Yet even so, Ma Ying continued to verbally and physically abuse Pei Song, venting all her anger on him and blaming him for all her misfortunes. Until her death, she never showed Pei Song even a shred of love. The thought of her impending death fills me with an inexplicable sense of satisfaction. A person like her is utterly unworthy of being a mother, let alone deserving to live. At this point, she has only 2 months left to live. But letting her die just like that would be letting her off too easily. So, I chose the day recorded in the diary when my stepfather Zhu Mo took all the money from our home. I deliberately had someone collect photos of Zhu Mo fooling around and sleeping with other women, along with records of him secretly transferring money to support a child outside. I sent all these to Ma Ying under the name of Zhu Mo's mistress, taunting her. When you die, all of this will belong to me and my son. You stupid woman, why aren't you dead yet? Let the waters be muddied even more. Watching dogs fight is quite a spectacle. I want her to die in agony, filled with 100,000 times more hatred and pain. 12. But on the same afternoon I sent out those photos, Pei Song didn't come to school. Sitting in the classroom, staring at the empty seat beside me, I felt an inexplicable panic and began repeatedly recalling the contents and details of Pei Song's diary. The diary clearly states that after Pei Song returned home from school, he learned that Zhu Mo had taken the bank card and passbook from Ma Ying's hands while Pei Song was away. During the argument, Ma Ying was also injured by Zhu Mo, who hit her leg. According to the diary's record, Pei Song should be at school right now. If he's not at school, then unease and fear instantly gripped my heart. Why is it different this time? Why isn't he at school? I had no time to think. I hurriedly climbed over the school wall and rushed out. With no cars on the road, I could only run like mad toward Pei Song's house. An unknown terror took hold of me, and the panic in my heart reached its peak. I rushed over and entered his half-open door to see a man crouching with his back to me, desperately choking Ma Ying's neck as her struggles were nearly subdued. The woman's face was flushed red, on the verge of suffocation. Beneath Zhu Mo's feet lay the motionless Pei Song. The back of Pei Song's head was split open, blood streaming down his face from the wound, pooling in a bright red puddle beneath his skull. My vision turned red with rage. I suddenly grabbed a blood-stained hammer from the floor and swung it violently at Zhu Mo. Thud, a dull thump echoed as he collapsed. Ma Ying, who had been in his choking grasp, finally broke free and gasped for air in ragged breaths. My mind was in chaos as I stumbled towards Pei Song, calling his name. But he showed no response. He was frighteningly hot to the touch, completely unconscious, with blood still gushing from his hand. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop the bleeding. Trembling, I took out my phone, dialed 120 for an ambulance, then called 110 to report to the police before shouting angrily at the woman who did this. Pei Song shielded me from Zhu Mo's glass bottle and hammer. The disheveled woman said in a hoarse, tearful voice, if it weren't for protecting me. If it weren't for protecting me, he wouldn't have. I watched in despair as Pei Song lay half dead in a pool of blood, crying and calling his name repeatedly. Wake up, Pei Song, Pei Song, Pei Song. Driven by hatred, I reached out and picked up the hammer from the ground again, swinging it toward the man on the floor. But before it could hit him, Ma Ying caught it with her hand and wrested the hammer I had intended to smash into the man's head from my grip. You can't kill him. He was just trying to kill you and your son. I screamed at her through tears that blurred my vision. Save Pei Song first. I looked at Pei Song. Yes, Pei Song. Save Pei Song first. But the ambulance still hasn't arrived. In despair, I carried the blood-soaked Pei Song on my back and rushed out the door. As I ran into the courtyard carrying Pei Song, a tremendous explosion sounded behind me. A wave of scorching heat surged toward us. Realizing what was happening, I desperately ran beyond the heat's reach. I turned around and looked back only after running out of the courtyard. That woman stood amidst the flames, gradually being consumed along with everything around her. In less than 10 seconds, the entire house was instantly reduced to a blazing inferno, with roaring flames shooting skyward. Devouring everything, carrying Pei Song on my back, I desperately ran toward open ground and never looked back again. I collapsed in front of the arriving ambulance, and the nurses hastily loaded Pei Song onto the vehicle before I followed aboard. Doctors and nurses were desperately trying to save Pei Song. Trembling, I took out my phone and called the fire emergency number again. That woman is truly insane, as crazy as I am. No, even crazier than me. 13. The nurses rushed Pei Song into the emergency room. I collapsed onto a chair, my mind filled with the image of Pei Song covered in blood. The fear of losing him again suffocated me. When I saw my parents hurrying to the hospital to find me, I finally broke down in their arms, crying, Mom, will Pei Song die? My mother stroked my head and said, No, Xiaosong is a good boy, he will definitely recover. We waited anxiously outside together. When the doctor came out, my father rushed forward and asked, Doctor, how is my child? Because he was brought in relatively promptly, he's already out of life-threatening danger, the doctor replied. Hearing that Pei Song was safe, the heavy weight in my heart finally lifted. Pei Song slowly regained consciousness in the early hours of the morning. Upon waking, he saw me and my parents by his side, overjoyed at his awakening. For the first time, Pei Song felt that it was truly good to be alive. Still shaken, I asked Pei Song, weren't you supposed to be at school at that time? Why were you still at home? I went back to get the jade pendant my father left for me. He said to give it to the most important person. I wanted to give it to you, but I lost it. Pei Song replied weakly, yet earnestly answering my question. Tears streamed down my face as I pulled out an intricately carved jade pendant from my pocket and asked with a trembling voice, Is this the one you meant? It was the object he tightly clutched in his hand while unconscious. This jade pendant. He had once given me one too. I always thought it was just an ordinary ornament, but it turns out to be something like this. Pei Song nodded. This is the one. So it was because of me that he got implicated. I returned the jade pendant to him. Keep important things safe. In the future, if you still think I'm important, You can give it to me again, Pei Song, just put the things away, He Ping said. Pei Song left me an apartment and 730,000 in savings as compensation, and these were nearly all he had. I thought of Ma Ying. What was she thinking when she dragged Zhu Mo to their deaths? Was there even a moment of regret for never having treated her own biological son well? I will never know the answers to these questions, but the fire, she said, allowed Pei Song to rise from the ashes. After Pei Song fully recovered, with his consent, Dad took us and moved away, completely leaving this city behind. All of this has finally come to a complete end. 14. It took me a long time and considerable effort to help Pei Song emerge from the shadows of his past. My parents have always been exceptionally good at raising children. They possess abundant love and respect, and they spared no effort in caring for Pei Song, to the point where I sometimes wondered who their real child actually was. Thus, Pei Song also became a child raised in love. We grew up accompanying each other, almost inseparable, sharing every important stage of life together. I feel fortunate to reunite with Pei Song once again, witnessing him embark on a completely different life journey. For instance, thanks to my mother's years of meticulous care, Pei Song, who was only 178 centimeters tall in his previous life, now towers at 190 centimeters in this lifetime, becoming an existence beyond my reach. He is free-spirited and vibrant, full of passion. Combined with his naturally sharp mind, no matter where he is placed, he shines as the most dazzling presence in any crowd. Our parents were happy to send us to experience and learn various skills. As a result, Pei Song mastered basketball, horseback archery, boxing, martial arts, piano, violin, guitar, painting, rock climbing. He was versatile and excelled at everything, while I dabbled in everything but mastered nothing. In contrast to Pei Song, I finally became a good-for-nothing who couldn't do anything. Just like last time, we started dating during university. The difference was, this time it was him who relentlessly pursued me and wouldn't take no for an answer. After I finally agreed to be with him, he was like an excited puppy, eagerly handing me the jade pendant. Xiao Xiao, you are the most important person to me, he said. Because of me, he finally fell in love with this world. I said, I came into this world just for you. Story 2. In my previous life, after Zhou Yan's death, he bequeathed me an inheritance of 600 million yuan. In his will, he said that although he couldn't marry me as his wife, he could make me a wealthy woman, and I, before the college entrance examination, had accused him of bullying the top student, which led to his expulsion from school. Later, I found out that the top student was a scumbag who had secretly taken photos up my skirt. Due to an accident, I was reborn back to my high school days. In this life, I will protect classmate Zhou Yan. 01. I was reborn, but my consciousness and body hadn't synchronized yet. My hands and feet were weak, and I fell straight to the ground. Su Chansha has fainted, a classmate shouted. I'll carry her to the infirmary. The class monitor, Qin Ke, walked towards me. No one noticed the obscenity in his eyes. As soon as Qin Ke stretched out his lecherous hand, he was roughly knocked aside by someone's shoulder. It was Zhou Yan. He picked me up and strode towards the infirmary. Soon, my hands and feet returned to normal. I took the initiative to wrap my arms around Zhou Yan's neck, buried my face in his chest, and trembled all over. Zhou Yan held me tighter and quickened his pace towards the infirmary. Qin Ke followed and asked, Su Chansha, are you okay? Qin Ke's voice made my blood run cold. In my previous life, I thought Qin Ke was an excellent student with both good character and academic performance. He often came to discuss problems with me. As time went by, I regarded him as a friend. That day, after the evening self-study, we stayed in the classroom as usual to discuss difficult problems. Qin Ke said he couldn't see clearly on the draft paper and suggested writing on the blackboard. I was writing the problem-solving steps on the blackboard and didn't notice that Qin Ke was holding a mobile phone and secretly taking photos up my skirt. Zhou Yan, what are you doing snatching my phone? I didn't know how Zhou Yan came back again. He was pinching Qin Ke's mobile phone, his eyes wide with anger, like a frenzied wolf cub. Bang! Zhou Yan punched Qin Ke in the face with amazing force. Qin Ke's front tooth was knocked out. He grabbed Qin Ke by the neck and pushed him against the wall. Zhou Yan, you're crazy. Cough cough cough, let me go. Zhou Yan increased his grip, stared coldly at Qin Ke, and sneered, no, you don't know how crazy I really am, scumbag. It might be better to cut you up. I smelled a stench of urine. Chin-ku was so scared that he wet himself and was in a state of complete disarray with snot and tears streaming down his face. I won't do it again, I'll never dare again, Brother Yen, spare me this time. Zhou Yan grabbed Chin-ku's hair and dragged him out. I thought Zhou Yan was a bully. So I summoned up my courage and stopped him. Classmate Zhou Yan, let him go. After thinking for a moment, Zhou Yan threw Chin-ku aside and kicked him. Scram! Chin-ku scurried away in a panic. Zhou Yan pressed his hand on the back of my neck, looked down at me, and his eyes were very fierce. I thought he was going to hit me. After all, I was young and was almost scared to tears. Tisk, you're so timid, and your eyesight is also bad. He had been holding Chin-ku's mobile phone all the time, his knuckles turning white, and said, "You can scram too." 02. The next day, I was called to the principal's office. Zhou Yan stood against the wall, looking indifferent. When he saw me, he immediately stood up straight and frowned. The principal was Chin-ku's father. He said, "Student Su, please tell me the situation last night truthfully. How did Zhou Yan bully Chin-ku?" I told the truth about what I saw last night. The principal seized on my words and said, "This kid kicked so hard last night that it caused Xiaoke's spleen to rupture. He's still in the ICU being rescued." I was stunned and hurriedly said, "That's impossible. The spleen is located in the upper left part of the abdomen. Zhou Yan didn't kick that area." Chin-ku's mother poked me on the head with her finger, looking vicious. "Shut up, it's not your turn to speak here. He almost beat my son to death. Can the hospital's injury report be fake? I not only want him to pay for the damages but also want him to go to jail." Zhou Yan stood in front of me. "Su Changxia, this matter has nothing to do with you anymore. You can go out." I recalled every detail of last night and said firmly, "Zhou Yan didn't kick Chin-ku's spleen. It's wrong for him to hit someone. But you can't fabricate the injury to frame him. I will testify for him." At this moment, Zhou Yan's father, Zhou Kuan, rushed in broad daylight. He reeked of alcohol. Slap. Zhou Kuan came up and slapped Zhou Yan across the face. "You useless thing, you keep causing trouble for me. I might as well raise a dog instead of you." He slapped so hard that Zhou Yan fell to the ground, and blood streamed out of his nose. As soon as Zhou Yan stood up, his father slapped him several more times in a row. The young man was beaten back again and again. He stood up again and again but was knocked down again and again. He fell in the corridor, looking extremely embarrassed. The classmates were talking about it. "Let me tell you, I live in the same community as Zhou Yan. His father beats him when he's drunk. It's really pitiful. He doesn't deserve sympathy. He also bullies his classmates. Like father, like son, he's a natural bad seed." Zhou Kuan grabbed Zhou Yan's collar and dragged him back to the office. "You can either beat him to death, expel him, or send him to jail. I don't care. One thing, I won't pay a single cent in compensation." I stood there, stunned by the scene in front of me. I had never seen a father beat his son so brutally. Our eyes met, and he smiled at me. His eyes seemed to be reassuring me. I raised the question in my heart. "Classmate Zhou Yan, why did you hit Chin-ku?" Chin-ku's parents looked panicked. "Our Chin-ku is excellent in both character and learning. Don't try to smear him." I took out a tissue and covered his nose. The tissue was quickly soaked with blood. "Zhou Yan, don't be afraid, tell me your reason." Zhou Yan turned his face away and didn't look at me. "There's no reason, I just didn't like the look of him." Chin-ku's mother relaxed and started shouting all kinds of unpleasant words. Zhou Kuan picked up the teapot on the table and was about to throw it at Zhou Yan. "If you hit him again, I'll call the police," I roared, and the teapot didn't come crashing down after all. The outcome of this matter was that Zhou Yan bullied his classmate, and the circumstances were so serious that he was expelled by the school. 03. After the college entrance examination, I was admitted to my dream university as I wished. Chin-ku deliberately set the venue for the class reunion at the restaurant where Zhou Yan worked. "Classmates, eat and drink well. I'll foot the bill for this meal. Brother Chin is really generous." Chin-ku looked at Zhou Yan and ordered him, "Hey, you, bring a plate of oranges over here." "Oh, it's Zhou Yan. You're working as a waiter here." Chin-ku picked up a slice of orange and said contemptuously, "You can't even cut an orange properly. What a useless person." Zhou Yan stabbed the knife into the plate, looking arrogant. "I'm not very good at cutting oranges, but I'm first class at cutting other things." Chin-ku's face turned ashen. His previous sense of superiority vanished completely, and he swallowed nervously. Zhou Yan patted Chin-ku's face. "Don't mess with her. I'll be keeping an eye on you all the time." "Yes." Zhou Yan glanced at me. and that glance made me feel confused, until, in the second semester of my freshman year, a classmate told me that Chin-Ku had been caught secretly taking photos of a sophomore senior sister in the toilet. I then realized that that night, Chin-Ku was holding his mobile phone and secretly taking photos up my skirt, so. Chin-Ku's parents exaggerated Chin-Ku's injury so much because they wanted to scare Zhou Yan and shut his mouth. Coincidentally, Zhou Yan didn't say anything. The principal then expelled him as a matter of course to get rid of the potential trouble. 04. After learning the truth, I went to the chemical factory where Zhou Yan worked to find him. The environment of the chemical factory was very poor, and a pungent smell filled the air. Zhou Yan was wearing work clothes, with broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and long legs. His handsomeness couldn't be hidden even though he was covered in stains. "This isn't a place for you, let's talk outside." We walked outside the factory building. What do you want from me?" At this moment, a sense of guilt was torturing my heart like a blade. "I know everything. You didn't have to hit Chin-Ku. You could have called the police." "Zhou Yan, why didn't you say it out?" He sighed and said, "Because the world is harsher on girls." I remembered. In our first year of high school, there was a girl in our school who was in a relationship with a boy in the class. The boy took a private video of the girl and blackmailed her family. The girl's parents chose to call the police, and the boy received the punishment he deserved. However, there were all kinds of rumors about the girl in the school. "I have the video. It's super explosive. Who wants to see it?" "I want to see it. Send it to me." "She's a delinquent girl. She slept with many men. She also tried to hit on me, but I wouldn't look at her. We good girls should stay away from her. She's so promiscuous." The girl suffered even more serious secondary harm. Her grades plummeted, she developed depression, and eventually dropped out of school. It turned out that Zhou Yan was afraid that I would be like that girl, being slandered, stared at, and criticized. "Zhou Yan, was it worth sacrificing your future to protect me?" He smiled. "Su Chanxia, from beginning to end, you didn't do anything wrong. Everything was my own choice. Also, you've imagined too much. Even if I was expelled from school, I could still take the college entrance examination as a social examinee. I didn't take the exam because of family reasons. I didn't give up on my future. I had to earn money first because of the hardships of life." Zhou Yan lowered his head. He was getting too close. "But I'm the kind of person who always demands a return for what I give, so." Suddenly, Zhou Yan pinched my chin and kissed my lips. This wasn't a gentle kiss. He kissed me fiercely, and his overwhelming desire surged towards me. Zhou Yan put his arms around my waist to prevent me from escaping. I almost couldn't stand up. My heart was pounding like a drum, and I nervously grabbed his clothes. His heart was pounding fast too. After a long time, he finally let me go. I was like a fish that had been pulled out of the water, gasping for breath as if I was about to die. Zhou Yan and I pressed our foreheads together, calming our breathing. He said hoarsely, "Su Chanxia, this is enough." The corners of his eyes were red, and he looked a bit sad. Zhou Yan turned around and left. "Zhou Yan," I walked quickly towards him and grabbed his arm. "Do you want to date me?" I threw myself into his arms and hugged his waist. The young man's chest was as hot as fire. Zhou Yan was stunned, and then he picked me up and held me high. He laughed heartily as if he had the whole world. "Yes, yes, yes, let's date, Su Chanxia. I won't always be this poor. I'll earn a lot of money and give it all to you." I bumped my head against his and said with a smile, "You're such a fool." 05. Zhou Yan was working part-time while preparing for the college entrance examination. Whenever he had a break, he would come to the school to find me. On this day, Zhou Yan came to find me. Looking absent-minded, "You seem strange today." "Wah, what's strange?" I held his face in my hands. "Come on, tell me what you're up to." "Well, I rented an apartment near your school. Do you want to come and take a look with me?" The apartment was carefully decorated by him. The bed sheets and pillowcases were bought according to my preferences, and there were 2 sets of toiletries. Zhou Yan stood there calmly, but his ears were completely red. "Every time I come to see you, there's no place to talk properly. Do you like this place?" I pushed him down, poked his chest, and asked with a smile, "You just want to talk to me properly and nothing else?" Now his neck was red too. I thought about it, and I thought about a lot of things. We looked at each other and started kissing. The next afternoon, I finally woke up after getting enough sleep. Zhou Yan was sitting leaning against me, doing math papers. When he saw that I was awake, he bent down, pushed aside my long hair, and became a kissing maniac. We were all over each other for a long time. "You must be hungry. I'll go cook." you're so virtuous, Brother Yen can really do everything, he said in a hoarse voice. Don't fan the flames, or we won't be able to have dinner until tonight. Zhou Yan got up and put on his clothes. Suddenly, he fell to the ground. I rushed over to help him up. I'm fine, I just felt dizzy for a moment. Zhou Yan coughed dryly, pulled the quilt over me, and said, my dear, don't look at me so intently, I'll have a nosebleed in a while. I blushed, pulled the quilt aside, and covered him with it too. Zhou Yan, change your job. The environment of the chemical factory is too bad and it's not good for your health. He picked me up and said, okay, I'll resign at the end of this month. At this moment, we didn't know that misfortune was already upon us. 06. In the chemical factory, employees were successively diagnosed with cancer. This matter caused a great stir and was reported in the social news. I dragged Zhou Yan to have a medical examination. The gods didn't hear my earnest prayers, and he was also diagnosed with cancer. For now, Zhou Yan's condition could still be controlled by medication. However, the anti-cancer drugs were extremely expensive, and the money was being spent like water. In order to make money quickly, I went to work as a red wine salesperson in a bar. A man looked at me with ill intentions, patted his thigh, and said, beauty, come and sit on Big Brother's lap. If you make me happy, I'll buy as many bottles as you open tonight. This was a substantial amount of income. I needed the money so badly. The man's hands groped all over my body. You're so fair and fragrant. Name a price and stay with me for one night. I regretted it and got up to leave. The man grabbed me and wouldn't let me go, ignoring my struggles. He leaned in to kiss me. Let go of me. What are you pretending to be innocent for? Big Brother will give you money, so just let Big Brother have a kiss. Suddenly, I saw Zhou Yan in the crowd and felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. He went crazy. Zhou Yan rushed over, punched the man in the face, and knocked him to the ground. Bang! He smashed a wine bottle, brandished the broken glass, his eyes fierce, and stabbed towards the man's eyes. Help, someone's killing me. Behind Zhou Yan. I held onto his waist tightly and cried out loudly, stop, Zhou Yan, stop. The tip of the glass stopped on the man's eyelid. Zhou Yan was shaking. He was like a wounded and trapped beast. Listen, I'm her boyfriend. She has a boyfriend. The man nodded vigorously. Yes, 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 I drank too much. It was just a joke. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Zhou Yan threw away the glass in his hand, and blood dripped from his palm. He took my hand and walked out of the bar. It was raining. We wandered like wandering souls in the rain at night. Finally, as if waking up from a dream, he stopped, lifted his coat, and wrapped me in his arms. The young man's chest was as hot as fire. I tightened my arms and hugged him tightly, fearing that this fire would go out. Sorry, sorry, sorry. It was as if a pair of sharp claws had torn open my heart, and it hurt so much. But, what should I do to save you? Zhou Yan stroked my head, held me and swayed gently. And all the hostility in his body turned into tenderness. How could I blame you? You didn't do anything wrong. He hugged me tighter and tighter, buried his face in the crook of my neck, and said, Su Chanxia, I love you, I love you, I love you so much. Did raindrops fall into my neck? But how could raindrops be warm? 07. Zhou Yan left without saying goodbye, and I couldn't find him. 7 years later, his lawyer found me. I received an inheritance of 600 million yuan and a letter. Su Chanxia, hello, I'm Zhou Yan. In these 7 years, I've worked extremely hard. I've gone from a penniless young man to a successful and powerful CEO. However, the disease is too vicious. After struggling with it for many years, I still lost. Please don't be sad for Mr. Zhou. Mr. Zhou has never given up on himself. He is very brave and is honored even in defeat. In this life, I can't marry you as my wife, but I can make you a wealthy woman. All the money I've earned is for you. Finally, I hope you forget me, move forward, and don't look back. I wish you find your true love soon and have a large family with many children and grandchildren. Crossed out repeatedly, I wish you a bright future and good health. The last words of Zhou Yan, Miss Su. In addition to the 600 million yuan in cash, the real estate and luxury cars under Mr. Zhou's name are also given to you. I crumpled up the letter and said, where is he? Take me to see him. The lawyer looked businesslike and said, Miss Su, Mr. Zhou is already dead. Bullshit. I've known him for more than a day. I know he's not dead. Take me to see him. The lawyer took me to Zhou Yan's villa. He was lying in bed, looking haggard and emaciated. I climbed onto his bed and rested my head on his shoulder. Starting from his eyebrows and eyes, I touched every inch of him. Mr. Zhou, you look quite energetic. Zhou Yan's ears turned red and he said, nonsense, mister. Zhou is just sick, not useless. He spoke defiantly, still looking like a young man. Are you satisfied with the touch? Not satisfied, you're too thin now, skinny guy. Zhou Yan, we looked at each other, leaned in, and kissed carefully. I held his face in my hands and said, Brother Yan, this winter is too cold. Stay with me until after the spring festival. The cancer cells had already spread throughout his body, and he didn't have much time left. He stroked my head with a gentle smile. Okay, 08. Memories of my previous life flashed back in my mind. Due to an accident, I was reborn back to my high school days. Everything hadn't happened yet, and the tragedy could still be changed. Su Changxia, why don't I carry you to the infirmary instead? You're not familiar with Zhou Yan. And it would be so awkward for him to carry you like this. With just one look from Zhou Yan, Qin Ku immediately fell silent. Naturally, I wasn't sick. Seeing that I looked pale, the school doctor asked me to lie down and rest in the infirmary. Zhou Yan didn't leave. He sat on the chair, his long legs bent, with a cold expression on his face, looking arrogant and fierce. However, his ears had been red from just now until now. My brother Yan is the cutest in the world. I looked at the date, today. It's exactly the day when Qin Ke secretly took photos of me in my previous life. Today is an extremely inauspicious day. I sat up in a start, quickly asked for a sick leave, and left the school with my steps so fast that they were almost a blur. I was waiting for the bus when Qin Ke, like a lingering ghost, stood behind me. Su Changxia, are you feeling better? How about I accompany you to the hospital for a checkup? Qin Ke looked modest and friendly, like a well-behaved student. In my previous life, I was deceived by his false appearance. I said coldly, no need, scram. Su Changxia, aren't we good friends? Why are you suddenly ignoring me? The bus arrived, and I immediately got on. There were a lot of people on the bus, and there were no empty seats. Qin Ke also got on the bus. He squeezed towards me, holding a mobile phone in his hand. At this moment, I saw Zhou Yan getting on the bus from the back door. I felt very flustered. With a sense of crisis that fate was difficult to escape, I wanted to get off the bus, but it had already started moving. Oops, I dropped something. Qin Ke said that, then squatted down, pretending to look for something, and looked at my legs from bottom to top. His eyes were very lewd, just like in my previous life. I was wearing a skirt. I was just about to hit him with my school bag. Ah, Qin Ke let out a scream. Zhou Yan stood in front of me, stepped on Qin Ke's hand, and twisted it back and forth. What are you looking at? Nothing. I'm not looking at anything. Take your foot away. Zhou Yan's face was as cold as water, and he said, scumbag. In my heart, I continued, he should be cut up. Remembering the scene in my previous life where Zhou Yan severely beat Qin Ke, I quickly said, classmate Zhou Yan, my head is so dizzy. Zhou Yan turned around to support me. I'm 165 centimeters tall, and he's 189 centimeters tall. This height difference really gives me a sense of security. I leaned against him naturally and secretly touched his waist, feeling happy. Zhou Yan's attention was focused on me, and the irritability in his eyes turned into worry. The bus arrived at the stop. 1 second I was so weak that I couldn't take care of myself, and the next second I was holding Zhou Yan's hand and rushing off the bus. Finally, I got rid of the bane of my existence, Qin Ke. Right away, my joy turned to sorrow. 09, hey. That couple holding hands up ahead, stop, which grade are you in? How dare you have a puppy love? Oh no, it's the dean of students, old Qiao. Zhou Yan, don't let old Qiao catch us. Run. I grabbed Zhou Yan and ran. I only regretted that my legs were too short when I needed to run fast. Soon, it was Zhou Yan dragging me to run. Old Qiao was already in his 50s, but he was riding his old bicycle and chasing us with great vigor. Zhou Yan, I recognize you. Your height is unique. My eyes are the ruler. Who's that little potato next to you? Stop, old Qiao. I really appreciate you. My lungs were almost bursting, and my steps were messy. I couldn't keep up with Zhou Yan's speed. Suddenly, Zhou Yan picked me up in a princess carry, took big strides, and ran very fast. I was stunned for a moment, buried my face in the crook of his neck, patted his back, and said excitedly, Brother Yan, run faster. Run even faster, old Qiao is about to catch up. Zhou Yan had good physical strength. After running for 2 blocks, he had already left old Qiao far behind. He stopped at the snack street and put me down. What did you just call me? Brother Yan, you're half a year older than me. Zhou Yan coughed dryly and asked, Do you call everyone who's older than you brother? No, I've only called you that. The night was hazy, and today had passed safely. The butterfly flapped its wings. And every day from now on would be brand new. Smelling the hustle and bustle of the snack street and having my beloved by my side, I finally felt that I had really been reborn. 10. The next day, Zhou Yan didn't come to school. I called him, but no one answered. Worried about him, I asked the head teacher for leave and went to Zhou Yan's rented room. Zhou Kuan has a violent temper. When he's drunk, he beats his wife and children. Zhou Yan's mother ran away when he was very young. He was beaten by Zhou Kuan from childhood to adulthood. After he turned 16 and could work part-time to earn money, he cut off all contact with Zhou Kuan and rented a place on his own. Fortunately, in my previous life, Zhou Yan had brought me here. I knocked on the door hard. After a long time, Zhou Yan came to open the door. He wasn't wearing a shirt, looking haggard and sickly, and he fell straight towards me. I caught him in a panic. When I touched his back, my hand was covered in sweat. Remembering how he looked when he was sick in my previous life, my ears were ringing and my heart was pounding. I hugged him tightly and said, Zhou Yan, Yan, what's wrong with you? Yan, I'm fine. I just felt dizzy for a moment. These words almost broke my heart. Put on your clothes quickly. Let's go to the hospital. Zhou Yan rested his chin on my shoulder. His body was burning hot, and his breath was also hot, he said. It's just a fever. I've already taken the medicine. He paused for a moment and then looked up at me. I was already in tears, crying my eyes out. Okay, let's go to the hospital. Don't cry. I originally wanted to give him a full physical examination, but you can't have a physical examination when you have a fever. He had a fever of 39 degrees, and I accompanied him while he had an intravenous drip. I held his hand with the 4 drip. His hands were big, with long and slender knuckles and calluses between his fingers. When you recover from your illness, we'll come for a physical examination again. Zhou Yan was unusually obedient. Okay. Zhou Yan held my hand and fell asleep. I looked at him, leaned in, and solemnly kissed his forehead. Yan, don't get sick. Zhou Yan didn't sleep soundly. There were beads of sweat on his forehead. I helped him wipe the sweat away. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and grabbed my wrist. His eyes were fierce, with a trace of confusion after a nightmare. It was as if he didn't recognize me. He looked at me for a long time, and gradually his eyes turned red. What's wrong? Is there something uncomfortable? He pulled me over, hugged me, and said in a deep voice, I'm fine. I've never been better. Su Chanxia, thank you for coming to find me. I stroked the back of his head and felt an inexplicable joy. You're welcome. You have to get better soon. 11. After the exam week in the 3rd year of high school ended and the grades were released, my grades dropped by more than 100 places. This wasn't unexpected. It had been so many years since I graduated from high school, and I wasn't familiar with many knowledge points. I felt Zhou Yan's concerned gaze on me. At the same time, Qin Ke turned around and asked me, Su Chanxia, why did your grades drop so much? Don't worry. Stay after the evening self-study, and I'll tutor you. No need. I took the test paper and walked up to Zhou Yan, whining, Yan, I need you to save me. The classmates in the class were puzzled. When did the school beauty get so close to the school bully? What did I miss? Am I the only one who's curious about why the school beauty suddenly stopped talking to the class monitor? There are so many girls who like Zhou Yan, but he never pays attention to them. The school beauty is so confident and even acts coquettishly. I hope she won't be scolded and cry by the cold school bully later. Zhou Yan looked at my test paper and said, sit here, I'll explain the questions to you. The onlookers, I moved my chair over. Zhou Yan's deskmate was very observant and went to sit at my seat. Zhou Yan wrote down the problem-solving steps on the draft paper and explained the questions to me softly. I secretly moved my arm and pressed it against his. The tip of his pen paused for a moment, and he asked, do you understand? I understand. I don't know. When Zhou Yan unwrapped a piece of candy and put it in my mouth, he said seriously, this is a reward for the little kid. Everyone, who can understand this. Does he really have no experience in relationships? He's so good at it. 12. At noon on Saturday, Qin Ke held his 18th birthday party and invited the whole class. I didn't plan to go at first, but the place where we were having the meal was the restaurant where Zhou Yan worked part-time. The principal had set up several tables. At the table for relatives, I saw someone, Xing Jianming, the boss of the chemical factory in my previous life. It turned out that Xing Jianming was Qin Ke's uncle. Was this a coincidence? Old Qin, I heard that Xiao Ku is about to be recommended for admission to Tsinghua University and Peking University. Truly, a tiger father has no dog son. The principal patted Qin Ku on the shoulder and said proudly, the result hasn't been officially confirmed yet. But it's basically a sure thing. Qin Ku was at the height of his pride. Waiter, cut a plate of fruit for this table. Oh, isn't this Zhou Yan? It's my fault, I forgot to invite you. Qin Ku's smile was especially grating. He said, our cold and aloof school bully, why are you working as a waiter? It's so pitiful. If you have any difficulties, tell me, I'll ask my dad to sponsor you. When Zhou Yan saw me, his eyebrows furrowed slightly. I immediately walked up to him and said, I'm not here for the banquet, I'm here to find you. How long will it be until you get off work? 2 hours. Why, today is also your 18th birthday, I want to cook for you. This place is close to the seafood market. After you're done with your work, we can just go buy groceries. Zhou Yan rubbed the back of his neck, looking a bit silly for no reason. Well, then you can wait for me in the lobby. I'll get off work as soon as I change my clothes. Qin Ku, I went to the restroom first. When I came out, I saw Qin Ku and Xing Jianming going to the stairwell to smoke, so I followed them. Uncle, you saw that waiter just now, right? That's Zhou Yan. He always outshines me at school. His grades are better than mine, and the girl I like also likes him. Last time on the bus, he almost broke my finger by stepping on it. Do you have any way to deal with him? It would be best to make him disappear from this world. Sure. Let him work in my factory. Will he agree to go? Lure him with a high salary. Didn't you say he has several part-time jobs and is crazy for money? For a poor guy like him, giving him 7 or 8,000 yuan a month will make him work for me. Ha ha ha, uncle is really brilliant. Let's do it like this. It turned out that it wasn't a coincidence. In my previous life, it was Qin Ku who harmed Zhou Yan. My heart ached so much. Leaning against the wall, I walked towards the lobby while recalling that period of time before Yan's death. He vomited blood every day, so much blood, and there was hardly any flesh left on his body. He endured the intense pain and clung to his last breath. I couldn't bear to see him suffer, so I whispered in his ear, Yan, go, be good, I'm letting you go. Zhou Yan held my hand with great difficulty. I promise you to stay with you for the new year. Because of my words, he really held on until the spring festival. I held him in my arms, and it was like holding a pile of bones. I kissed his forehead and said, Happy New Year, my Yan, you're 27 years old now. He smiled, but he didn't have the strength to speak anymore. Yan, I love you, I love you, I love you so much. When the New Year's bell rang, he died in my arms, originally, in my eyes. Qin Ku was just a rotten apple. I didn't need to do anything. He would naturally fall and suffer the consequences of his actions. So, when I was first reborn, instead of seeking revenge, I chose to avoid him. Now I've changed my mind. I want to get revenge. 13. Su Changxia, what's wrong with you? My face was pale, my whole body was soaked in sweat, and my fingers were trembling. When I saw Zhou Yan, I threw myself into his arms and hugged him tightly. Let me hug you for a while, just for a while. Zhou Yan was stunned, his hands hanging in the air, and his heart was pounding like a drum. I looked up at him. I want you to hug me. Zhou Yan's breathing became heavier, and he hugged me tightly. The young man's chest became hotter and hotter. Why do I like hugging him so much? Because every time he hugs me, his desire can't be hidden. Zhou Yan's embrace made me feel at ease, and I quickly calmed down. We bought groceries, picked up the birthday cake I had ordered, and went back to the rented room together. When the dishes were served on the table, we sat facing each other. I took out the birthday gift from my school bag and handed it to him with both hands. What is it? Zhou Yan opened the wrapping paper expectantly. It's a love letter I wrote to you. The young wolf opened his eyes wide in shock, and his face turned red instantly, just like a Sichuan opera actor changing his face. He unfolded the love letter. Zhou Yan, brother Yan, hello, first of all. Happy 18th birthday to you. The coming of age gift I give you is my confession. I like you, a lot. I want to say I love you, but I'm afraid it will scare you. I don't know if you've noticed, but I peek at you several times a day. Do you know how handsome you are? Your model-like figure, handsome appearance, and cold temperament all make my heart flutter. Of course, besides your good looks, I like your soul even more. Yan is very ambitious, hardworking, and strong. Although everyone says you're cold and aloof, and you look fierce and arrogant, I know that you're gentler and better than anyone else. This is just my one-sided confession. Don't agree right away, let me chase you for half a year. Highlight, I'll be 18 in half a year. I'm taking the liberty to confess. I hope you don't think I'm being abrupt. Please believe in my sincerity, in this life. I not only want to teen, I told Zhou Yan that Sing Jianming was Qin Ke's uncle and that they were going to harm him. Now that Zhou Yan knew about it, he naturally wouldn't go to work in the chemical factory. Next, I'm going to deal with Qin Ke. Qin Ke has a voyeuristic habit of secretly taking photos. There's a high chance that his phone contains evidence of his crimes of secretly photographing others. I have to get his phone first. Qin Ke sits in front of me when he was playing with his phone. I secretly saw his unlocked password. When he went to play basketball, he casually threw his phone into the desk drawer, taking the opportunity of picking up something. I took his phone, I squatted in a toilet cubicle and opened Qin Ke's phone. At this moment, a WeChat message notification popped up. That's when I learned that Qin Ke had a group for secretly taking photos. Qin Ke is the group owner. In the group, he teaches the boys how to secretly take photos of girls on the subway and buses, and how to coax their girlfriends into agreeing to take intimate videos. If the girlfriends don't agree, he also teaches them how to secretly take photos. They also share the secretly taken videos and photos in the group, maliciously discuss the girls' bodies, and the chat records are extremely disgusting. There are more than 300 people in this group. I don't know where else they will spread these videos and photos. I even found out that the boy who secretly took his girlfriend's intimate video and blackmailed her parents in the first year of high school is also in this group. Every time someone secretly takes their girlfriend's private video, the disgusting men in the group will make fun of it, saying not to be as greedy for money as that boy and end up getting caught. When I looked through Qin Ke's photo album, it was full of photos of secretly taking pictures up girls' skirts. Among them, there were even photos of young girls. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. Qin Ke is really rotten to the core. 15. I let out a sigh and called the police directly. Qin Ke has powerful parents behind him, so this will be a tough battle. But I'm not afraid. I walked out of the toilet. Suddenly, someone covered my mouth and dragged me to the stairwell. Woo woo woo. I thought I had been discovered by Qin Ke. When I took a closer look, it turned out to be Zhou Yan. He held my face in his hands and kissed me. I don't know why. I felt that this kiss was very similar to our first kiss in the previous life. It took a long time for him to let me go. Zhou Yan stroked my lips with his fingertips, smiling gently, and said, Suchansha in high school is so tender that you can pinch water out of her. It really makes me unable to stop. Are you? My heart was pounding like a drum. Because I was too excited and eager, I didn't dare to say that address easily. How could it be so lucky? When I was lost in the moment, Zhou Yan put his hand into my pocket and took out Qin Ke's phone. Don't worry, leave the rest to me. Zhou Yan. What I actually wanted to call him was Mr. Zhou. The police car drove into the school. Zhou Yan took big strides and turned around to leave. As if waking up from a dream, I chased after him. 16. In the principal's office, Qin Ke's family of 3 and the police were all there. Zhou Yan walked in neither humbly nor arrogantly. This scene intertwined with the memories of my previous life, making me feel dazed for a moment. The young man still chose to hide me behind him and fight alone. Zhou Yan handed the phone to the police. The police said, the person who called the police before was clearly a girl. I found the evidence of Qin Ke's crimes and asked that girl to call the police for me. This matter has nothing to do with her. It has something to do with me. I walked in and stood side by side with Zhou Yan. In this life, I'm no longer an ignorant bystander. I won't just stand by and watch so many people bully my Yan. Qin Ke was going to secretly take photos of me. I guessed that he was a habitual offender, so I took his phone. The police looked through Qin Ke's phone, and their expressions turned serious. When they saw the photos of young girls, the policeman's fists clenched. The police took out the handcuffs and said, Qin Ke, come with us to the police station. Qin Ke's mother went crazy. She hugged the policeman's arm and cried out, Weary, our Xiao Ku is innocent. He's a good boy with excellent character and academic performance. They must be framing him. The police played a voice message of Qin Ke in the group. Secretly taking photos is really interesting. Those girls are afraid that the photos will be spread, so even if they find out, they don't dare to say anything. Their frightened eyes and ashamed expressions really make me excited. Qin Ke's mother's expression froze for a moment, and she directly stuffed a bank card into the policeman's pocket. The policeman got angry. What are you doing? How dare you bribe me? Handcuff them all. The principal was calmer than Qin Ke's mother and said, Officer, they stole this phone. Is the evidence collection legal? I'm also going to call the police and accuse them of theft and have them arrested too. I want to expel them. 17. How can it be considered theft when it comes to fighting against evil and upholding justice? Old Chow came. Behind him, there were also the director of the Education Bureau and people from the Anti-Corruption and Bribery Bureau. Before I decided to deal with Chin Ku, I went to Old Chow in my previous life. 3 years after Zhou Yan's death, the principal was arrested for corruption. I attended the court session as an observer and knew the details of the principal's corruption during his tenure. I wrote down all the details of the principal's corruption case as a document and gave it to Old Chow. Old Chow is highly respected, and the director of the Education Bureau is his student. It's far more convincing for him to bring down the principal than for me, a high school student. Old Chow printed out the document I had organized and slapped it on the table. These 2 kids didn't do anything wrong. I'll back them up. Let's see who dares to expel them. Chin Ku deserves what he gets. It's about time to thoroughly investigate your corruption, Old Chin. When Chin Ku's father saw the evidence of his crimes, the things he had done during his tenure, such as embezzling the construction funds for the new campus, deducting the students' meal fees, and buying and selling admission places, could no longer be hidden, he panicked completely and slumped in his chair, losing his former dignity. Chin Ku originally thought that his parents could bail him out and didn't care. As a result, his parents were also going to be handcuffed and taken away for investigation. He knelt on the ground, crying bitterly, "Uncle Policeman, please let me go. I was about to be recommended for admission to Tsinghua University and Peking University. I'm a pillar of the country. Why should my bright future be ruined just because of a few photos and videos?" Slap. I rushed up and slapped him 3 times across the face. "This is for all the girls, scumbag. You should be cut up." Zhou Yan took my hand and rubbed it gently, his eyes full of tenderness and concern. Chin Ku wanted to fight back, but when he saw the tall and strong Zhou Yan, he immediately cowered and covered his face. "Hitting people is against the law. I'm going to call the police." The policeman coughed dryly and pretended not to see it. 18. Yo, so many people here. It's really lively. Zhou Kun came. Chin Ku's mother gave Zhou Kun a look, and he immediately understood. I suddenly realized that Zhou Yan had long since cut off all contact with Zhou Kun, and Zhou Kun didn't care about his son's life or death at all. The reason he came to the school was that he had been bribed by Chin Ku's mother to deal with Zhou Yan. It was the same in my previous life. Those slaps one after another were still vivid in my mind. The slaps landed on Zhou Yan's face, and the pain lingered in my heart for years. Zhou Kun rushed over and was about to slap Zhou Yan. "Yan, fight back." Zhou Yan grabbed Zhou Kun's wrist and pushed him to the ground. Zhou Kun was like a madman, sitting on the ground and causing a scene. "I want to apply for my unfilial son's withdrawal from school. Our family has a hereditary mental illness. He's having an episode and is aggressive. He might hurt someone at any time. I want to send him to a mental hospital." This was a really vicious move. Chin Ku laughed, as if he had grasped a life-saving straw. "Can't a madman's police report be filed?" "Right." The policeman shook his head and said, "Stop talking nonsense. Take them away." The police took Chin Ku's family of 3 away. Zhou Kun was lying on the ground, drunk and raving, shouting, "Where is the school leader? I want to apply for this brat's withdrawal from school." Just as Zhou Yan was about to go over, I squeezed his hand and said, "Yan, I want to say a few words to him." "Okay." I squatted in front of Zhou Kun and looked at him like I was looking at a wriggling maggot. "Uncle, Yan is already 18 years old and is an adult. He doesn't need a guardian. And you will get old. You'll be old soon. You drink all day long and cause trouble everywhere when you're drunk." Before he moved out, the neighbors in your community could see you beating him every day. You said yourself that your family has a hereditary mental illness. All the signs show that you're more like an aggressive madman. Yan is your son, and he also has the right to send you to a mental hospital. If you make trouble again, the one who will be locked up in the end will definitely be you, because no normal father would accept money from others to deal with his own son. If killing were legal, I would definitely stab him to relieve my anger. Zhou Kun looked at me and showed a look of fear. Then, he suddenly laughed, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. "You like this kid? His grandfather was a wife-beater, and I'm also a wife-beater. There's violence in our Zhou family's genes. We like to beat our wives and children. If you're with him, he'll beat you too." I looked back, and Zhou Yan was looking at me, his eyes filled with self-doubt and nervousness. I walked up to Zhou Yan, took his hand, and looked down at Zhou Kun. He's different from you. He won't be different. He's even more ruthless than me. He's an ungrateful wretch. The young wolf may have a bad temper, but he's willing to put the rope in my hands. I've already tamed him." The farce ended, and Zhou Kun slunk away. Old Chow looked at me, then at Zhou Yan, and suddenly realized something. His eyes lit up. "You're that little potato. I've finally caught a couple having a puppy love. You two write me a self-criticism." Me, Zhou Yan, I acted cute in front of Old Chow. "Old Chow, I'm still chasing him. I haven't caught up yet. Can it be considered puppy love?" "Old Chow." Zhou Yan laughed out loud and bumped my shoulder. "Mr. Zhou isn't easy to chase. Little one, keep working hard. He is Mr. Zhou. He remembers everything." I was so happy that I jumped onto Zhou Yan and hugged him, pecking at him like a chick. Old Chow covered his eyes and cursed. "This is outrageous. I can't even look. Get down and go back to class." 19 Qin Ke's family of 3 was arrested. Just as I was about to deal with Xing Jianming, I saw the news in the newspaper that the chemical factory had been sealed up and Xing Jianming had been arrested. A man surnamed Zhou sneaked into the chemical factory, took internal photos of the chemical factory, collected evidence of the dangerous operations and the manufacturing of contraband in the chemical factory, and reported it to the relevant authorities with his real name. It was Zhou Yan. During the break, Zhou Yan moved to the desk in front of mine. I handed the newspaper to him and said, "Mr. Zhou, you were really quick. Last time when Zhou Yan had a high fever, he dreamed of the memories of his previous life, and he remembered everything. You know I'm not that quick in other aspects." My face turned bright red, and I punched his back with my small fist. Zhou Yan gave me the exercise book with sorted out sample problems and said, "Classmate Su Changxia, the college entrance examination is coming soon. Hurry up and study. Don't just think about flirting with Mr. Zhou all day long. Look at the way you look at me. Tut tut tut. It even makes me blush." I was drinking the hot milk he made for me and eating the snacks he queued for an hour to buy. I said contentedly, "Zhou Yan, you're the one who's obsessed with love. You even dig the wild vegetables that I like to eat." He stroked my head and looked rather proud. "I'm obsessed with Changxia. My preference is you. 20. Now, I am already Mr. Zhou's wife. I was woken up by Zhou Yan and found myself in tears. Qin Ke came over and asked, "Su Changxia, are you okay?" "Rain, Zhou Yan." I rushed over and hugged him tightly, still trapped in the pain of the nightmare. "Zhou Yan, you're not dead. You're not dead. That's great. You're not dead. Did you have another nightmare?" Zhou Yan let out a sigh, took my hand, and placed it on his face. "Wife, touch me from head to toe. I'm here." I touched his body inch by inch. "Mr. Zhou looks thin in clothes and has a nice figure without them. He feels really good to the touch. Ahem. Well, Mr. Zhou is